And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here with my co-host,
DANK.
And we're here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons, and they're enjoying their fish fry.
Enjoying their fish fry?
It's from Madonna. They're talking about fish fry. And it looks like one of our group discovered what that meant. It has to do with a guy named Fish that fried for basically, cannibalism and everything else. So
really?
He fried. Yeah, I just saw it. So we can share that. But before we get off into that, I was just looking around while the music was going on, and that's what I came away with. So, before we do that, let's get in any news from Kim. What's going on the funding front?
The things I do know, I can't share, and what I can tell you is that there is absolute chaos and panic all over the place. You have I told you about. What happened at the Air Force Base down in Little Rock a couple days ago, where they basically were told that if you were ordered to fire on civilians, that you would do it. They were told they were being given orders that when they received orders like that, if they received those orders, that they would follow them. Now that's an Air Force base. You got to think you're talking about pilots and things like that, right? Like they would be basically are being told that they'd have to fire. What would they be firing with? With jets? Now, this goes back to what I told everyone the plan was months and months. Maybe I've repeated this 6 months ago, where I broke down the entire plan of what they had in mind, right? So now you're watching this play out. So to everyone out there who is who's been following this saga, right? If you've listened to the story in the way I told you what their plan was, what you're seeing right now is there's no real head to this beast, right? So what's happening is they don't know what to do, and so they're just kind of hoping that the ones they think are in charge really are. So the ones who are sitting there who are just defiant, right, because they know they're going to lose everything, and they have no control of anything, and they delivered on nothing. So they've finally given the orders, right, and told everybody, we're going for it, right? So imagine you're the general, the first general gives the order, right? So you're told, open envelope C. And you open envelope C, you know exactly what that means, right? You open that up, and then you give your orders to your 5 guys. And each of those 5 guys, they're all in a compartment, and they know what to do. So they go out and they start setting up their part, right? So and then so on down the line. So what does that mean? So that's why you have, military bases that are all, told, like, basically getting prepared for war right now, right? They're in like a DEFCON 5 kind of level, right? And they are being told that potentially you might have to fire on people, right? Because this coronavirus is out of control, right? It could be a global killer, right? But really, that was never going to be all it was, right? Coronavirus was going to be one of many things they would have released and combined, and they would have mutated and formed, some kind of super sickness everywhere, right? And they were counting on this, right? This is part of the plan. Also, I told everybody, look, they were going to collapse the economy, right? So what did they do? Exactly what we said. They did a panic up on the market. So President Trump completely played that perfectly, right? He capitalized on it and didn't let them look good for it. So they panicked up the market. Since he's been a president, made, 5,000-6,000 points, maybe more. I'm not even sure exactly where it started.
It's basically almost double. It's double. It almost reached double. Almost. So that would 100%.
Right. So you panic up the market with the intention of dropping it out, and then in that you take all the, single-digit millionaires, like 9-10 million people who are worth $10 million of money in the bank, 6-figure income, and you pull all their money that they have in their pensions, right? So you drain every last dime out of this one. So there's nobody who's even in a position remotely to oppose you, right? That you siphon that off, which they can't do. By the way, they cannot do that. So that part of their plan has failed. But they still, they set up enough pieces to try to bring the economy down, whatever. But they're trying to do it, is my point. They're trying to collapse the economy. They're trying to release disease, and they're trying to wage a civil war, right? Where the military would basically have to call in the United Nations, which we have 700 Humvees, extra Humvees in Chicago right now, right? Now, I told you Chicago's a hot spot for something going off, right? Mm-hmm. We also got white vans all over Chicago, right, that we believe in the United Nations. So they're trying to put all their pieces in place, right, because all the people are following orders. Right? They have their orders. They open up their envelope. They're following through. They're doing what they believe is their part at this time, right? Everybody's moving forward. Now, here's what they're basing it on, right? What we talked about last night. The Treaty of Versailles, right? The payouts on the military settlements, they expect to come through tomorrow again. Now, they're hyped up for this. It didn't go through Thursday or Friday. They're hyped up for it. Now, here's how this stuff goes down, right? How wars get started. Here's their kind of a generic recipe. They put all the pieces in place. They build everything up, right? Then they get their payout, right? The very elite hierarchy at the top. They get their payout, and they've sold everybody else they need to sell, who will do whatever they want to start the war, and they spark it off, right? They spark it off with an assassination, with a conflict that rises, with disease, right? So now, look what you have. You have this coronavirus that's sparking off, right? So what is it that triggers war? And I'll tell you, I can tell you what I believe. This is just my theory now, right? But I believe what they would try to do right now, which they cannot do and they will not be able to, is they would try to assassinate the president. And if that were to happen, right? And if the money, so what would happen is the money would come through first, then they would, figure out some way to assassinate the president, and then the next part, that would be the trigger, and that would let everybody know you're all systems go for your part of the plan. And nobody would know anybody else's part of the plan, but they would all go forward to execute just according to the plan, right? And this would lead to such a absolutely, it's this chaos times 100, right? To the point where everyone would be so grateful they were alive. They'd be so happy to be, communists. They'd be so happy to be public slaves, right? No one would even care. In the Iron Mountain agenda, slavery is a mandatory, essential component of what it would take to have peace. That's their whole belief, the whole belief system. So that's kind of what we're witnessing right now, right? So, but everything goes back to securing the assets first, knowing that you're in control of them. Once you have control, then you can spark your evil agenda, right? So that will never freaking happen. That'll never happen. They will not get paid out. They have already been derailed. And the people, the money that's supposed to come into the people today, they try to do, right? Because they're cocky, right? Because they think they're going to pull this off. They think the military resettlements are coming in, right? Because every time it seems like something's going one way, and all of a sudden there's a political shift, and like Nancy Pelosi, like one day she's with us, and like seems like she's voting for us. The next day she's like, no way. And Chuck Schumer's now saying like, we should buy back stocks, right? He walked out, like he won't even deal, right? And he's walking away from the American people, so the payouts don't come to the American people, right? That's what he's walking away from. Now, why is he so cocky about that? Well, because he thinks that tomorrow, the escrow account in the Treaty of Versailles, the military settlements, is going to pay out, and he's going to be flushed again, right? And he'll be able to call the shots, but it's not going to happen. So, I expect once they realize that they failed again, and there is nowhere for them to look for redemption, there's no place for them to go, and they realize that absolutely they do not have control like Kim does, then all of a sudden you'll see those funds. I believe President Trump will step up to ensure that money gets to the people. Because he did enact the Defense Production Act, which actually I believe he doesn't even he doesn't have to ask permission from anyone.
No, he doesn't.
He can just do it.
Yeah. He's got the power of emperor now. The imperial powers are now bestowed upon him, because this was again. So all these rules were supposed to be for Hillary.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, she's got, but now he's got it, and now he's using it against them.
Right. So he's played into this, because they're making a big thing out of it, right? There's no way, if he downplays it, they attack him, right? He's handled it amazingly, and they're still attacking him, right? So, but you got to think, now Russia, I just got this, and I haven't verified it or checked the source or anything. I just got that Russia just introduced the cure, right? And I also got a study from 2005 where they tested this malaria drug on the coronavirus in 2005 and confirmed that it cures it. So they've known about this. This isn't even a thing.
Just the scare tactics. And,
but I think they had a mutated version they thought they were going to release. And I think, it goes back to something with the adrenochrome and the elites, right? And they thought, I think there was going to be I think that they were all sold that, this new batch of adrenochrome from Wuhan was, like this. I think there's something. I think that's what they paid this extra money for.
Oh.
And they all went out to Italy. I think they paid for something with the adrenochrome that was supposed to be like the super dosing, right? It was going to take care of them forever. And I think the ones who were getting sick are the ones who took it. And I think they thought it was going to be something different, but it's not working. And I think that's what that video of Ellen DeGeneres is really talking about.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, because the card trick isn't working. She says, "Hey, look at my card trick. It's a magic trick. The magic's not working." I tried 4 times. It's not working. I'm still looking older. I'm very hungry.
I mean, that is the most desperate, kind of scary video I have ever seen.
Well, there's a new picture that she put out, and she's like reclining on a sofa, like, and her feet are up, like kind of like cross-legged. But you can see on her pants, beneath her pants, there's a box on her leg. Looks like it's an ankle bracelet.
Wow.
So I can try and find that one too if we want to go into that. But they're all freaking out. The X22 report had this Twitter feed he was going over where they outlined all of these different celebrities talking to one another through Twitter. And one of them says, if Hank, if it's no, it's enough. I said Hank. If Tom is okay, we're all okay. Tom's not okay. Yeah, and they're all starting to freak out, right? Because I think they know what's happening here, and Madonna, she's talking to, she throws out to say, well, I'm having a fish fry, everything's great, right? But the fish fry is really about this guy. I'll go ahead, I'll share that. Share that with you. So, Albert Fish, killed via electric chair, fried, right? Hamilton Howard Albert Fish was an American serial killer, child rapist, and Kabbalist. He was also known as the Gray Man, the werewolf of Wisteria, the Brooklyn Vampire, the Moon Manic, the Boogeyman. So anyway, so 1936, Sing Sing Correction Facility. They're talking about Sing Sing, and so this is what they were talking about, right? Was Madonna was talking about. Oh, it's not on here. All right, let's get that. I don't know where Madonna went. I was looking for the Madonna one. Yeah, the one.
Well, yeah, it's I really think too that there a lot of the attorney, no, the Surgeon General today. Did you see him when he was walking away from Trump's speech? He said, "I thought you assumed he was saying donate blood, right? But he didn't. He said don't eat blood. He said don't eat blood." Right? Like twice.
No, I didn't.
It was very clear. It was like, don't eat blood. He said 3 times.
Oh, I'd like to catch that. I'll go back. I missed that.
Yeah, I went back and I looked at it again. I was like, holy cow! Yeah, that is what he's saying. Here, I'll send it to you, Dan. You can play it.
Okay.
Can't hear the sound from me. 1 second.
Well, I know that when I was listening to Trump, he was again saying they're going after the hidden enemy. He didn't say invisible today. He said the hidden enemy. So invisible is one thing. Saying hidden, viruses are not hidden, are they? They're invisible. But saying they're going after the hidden enemy, and he said that twice.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I think that it's really amazing. I mean, so I just sent it to you, Telegram, man. You should queue it up. Because when I saw it, I was like, wow, that really is what he's saying.
Sure.
General, we know. Would you like to answer that question? Please. Surgeon General, we know. Donate blood. Donate blood.
Don't eat it.
Yeah.
Well, listen to that again.
It's almost like he's, yeah, it sounds,
Would you like to answer that
I
question?
think,
Please. Surgeon General, we know. Donate blood. Donate blood.
Don't eat it. Yeah, the last part he said don't eat it.
yeah,
Very
don't eat it.
interesting.
Right.
Well, that was
Like, even when he's don't eat it.
Would you like to answer that question?
so here's
that's-
here's Ellen.
Surgeon General, we know.
Oh, I don't know if you
Donate blood.
Oh no.
Donate blood.
No, sorry. I thought that was gonna come up on Twitter as well. It's still in my Telegram, so I have to switch that around. Okay, share that. Okay, still there. So here we go, Ellen.
Can't hear the vibe.
Yeah, can't hear it. Yeah, it's up maximum. Yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be, like, she's not, like her card games, like that's not the coronavirus. Like, that's the Adrena coronavirus. So,
What are you doing?
Yeah, it's too hard to hear. All right. But so what is it? Supposedly she's doing this. This was not the card tricks one. Oh, let me go over here. Practicing card tricks. That's the other one. Now we can- So here's the card trick one.
Got the cards? Okay. They're all different. You can see that? I can't see them. I don't know what card is what. I'm going to pick a card. I'm going to call it out. And then I'm going to just find it. Okay? 4 of hearts. 6 of hearts. Very close. I'm going to try it 2 more times. 4 of hearts. 6 of diamonds. 1 more time. 4 of hearts. All right. Try to figure something out. It's not working.
No. That's interesting.
oh, they didn't show it the full way it is.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
That's
If
just a
you
picture.
see that whole video is the clearly she's having aggressive withdrawals, and her shirt across it says "Run Forrest, run Forrest, run." Right.
Yeah.
So it's like a message to Tom Hanks.
And it's painted on, right? It's a shirt. It's obviously it's not like an art. Something you're going to pick off the shelf. This is a pattern on 100 different sweatshirts. No, this was painted on. Run Forrest, run.
Yeah.
No. So they're obviously they're trying to pass off some messages, and they're telling Tom to run. Right. Maybe because I couldn't quite see her having an ankle bracelet on that one. The other, I wish I could see that. Find that. Let's see. All right. I'll take a look, see if I can find that while we're talking.
Well, and also, you have Judicial Watch. Basically, is confirmed. Like Hillary Clinton is going to face charges in the next 75 days.
I thought she's running for president.
Well, That's not what I heard. I mean,
I'm joking. It's
oh yeah.
it's like
Maybe.
she's slipping in after because Joe Biden's not going to be able to hold up, right? So, well, they if they got Joe Biden elected, think about this, and Hillary was the vice president, they could just definitely 25th Amendment him,
Oh yeah.
like they were going to do the Trump,
Sure.
right? And put her in. I'm not going to get that chance.
Yeah. Well, all their faculties are breaking down, and they all look absolutely insane. Trump just looks sharper all the time.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, he's getting younger.
Yeah, first president ever. Yeah.
He could be saying, he's saying, I got your adrenochrome and I'm taking baths in it.
Yeah.
I don't think so, but
Yeah.
anyway, it's just he could be trolling them though about it. Ron Paul also, since he's got they might be putting him under they're putting him under quarantine, right, or self quarantine, so that he's protected. That was a suggestion.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Also, Merkel, she's going down. She's quarantined. This is also part of a Q post that basically said that first May, then Merkel, then Macron were going to be taken down. May already is gone, right? And Boris Johnson is replacing him. Now Merkel is going to be stepping out.
Yeah. So it all seems very, it's so fascinating. I wonder if people are putting together the pieces of how many famous people are getting taken down with this, right? Coming down with this.
Oh, I would say pretty close to about 90%.
Yeah, because I don't know a single person, not in my whole town, no one, who has coronavirus. And in fact, I don't even know of where. They tried to make a big deal of Jersey. They opened a center for testing, right? And it closed down in like 4 hours, right? Because there's so many people. It's like, well, you only open one place for people to do it, right? Yeah. So if you tell everybody that anybody who's sick, come here, right? They're going to go there, but just to make sure. Especially if people don't know what's going on. But it doesn't really. It's not really indicative of the outbreak.
Right. Well, it's just concentrated so they can have camera angles, talking points and little blurbs that they can put out and say, look at all the masses trying to get a test. Why isn't there tests everywhere? I personally think that they want people to test because they're going to show that they have it. And it's probably a much higher percentage of people will have it. Maybe 30% of the people have it. But they're not going to get sick. Right? And it's
right.
Just,
well, they're saying they're going to test positive from this if they took this flu virus shot that was put out in 90. So it's like, well, think about that. All the people that take it. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, they were giving the flu shot everywhere this year, right?
Yeah.
So they probably had in mind, like this is what I was saying before, they're using the vaccine. They probably expected people to be having outbreaks of the coronavirus.
Right.
It's probably planted, but they disarmed it somehow.
Yeah. Well, it may also be triggered by 5G. I don't know how accurate that is. So maybe that's why Trump has kind of interfered with 5G. It didn't roll out everywhere.
Yep.
So maybe that was part of the reason. So there's so many layers to this, right? To know exactly all that went down, it's really fascinating to see how many other things have been in the background cooking, right? That we have no concept of, but it's laid out in QAnon, right? It's like 2-year deltas, 2 years a day. That's why the April 10th date is looking more and more like this will be the end of the line after this. So we're still 3 weeks away from there.
Who is Trump? Trump used to be Trump's guy. There is it Brennan, who has his own news outlet. Is that the guy? He used to be Trump's cabinet.
Yeah. Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon.
Bannon. Sorry, yeah. So Bannon said the other day that we need to give special powers to the Fed and the Treasury, right? And I thought, well, that seems kind of odd that you'd say that, right? And it makes me wonder, when he says something like that, because we had this really, impressive seer, it was intuitive from Australia, who told us that it was the person closest to Trump who would betray him or try to kill him. So I'm not saying, I'm just speculating, just trying to put pieces together and curious, right? Because you hope none of this kind of stuff really has to happen, but you wonder, who's who, right?
Yeah, it's not Bannon. It's not Bannon. He's a bigger threat to them than even Trump. I mean, it doesn't seem like it makes any sense, but to me, but I'm just not saying that there can't be other people that are close to him, that might turn out to be the one. But
I thought it could be Mike Pence. They were, they put out the letter the other day that allegedly went out to everybody at George H.W. Bush's funeral.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I came across my board here.
What did it say?
It said they know everything. I'm sorry. And it was from George H.W. Bush. It was from George W. Bush.
Interesting. They know everything. All right. Well, that's good enough to know. That's a good. That's good. This Q basically put out another post, I guess last night, and it's basically a song and basically saying "Have no fear." That's the whole thing. There's nothing else. Before that, it's been a week. It just says God wins. Now this one is "Have no fear," but it refers to the title of this. It's on this. If you go to it, it's playing a song. There's an angel with a sword. And the title basically matches up to another video that's talking about how George Bush Sr. was responsible for JFK's murder. And you can that was put together on In Pursuit of Truth iPod from today, I guess, or last night. So this is the Bushes are not out of this. They're just as much part, and they're going to go down just as much as the Obamas are and the Clintons. They're all going down. This is what we're seeing. It's going to be so. It's such a miraculous time. I know it's kind of like so you can't see it, right? Unless you're if you're from the outside and you don't have the background on this. Oh, lost tank there. So, but yeah, it is moving forward, where this is going to be very in front of everyone, where we'll see they are responsible. They created the system. I think we're getting full disclosure. It's not going to be hidden. It's going to be brought out, because it's the only way to really start again. Also, with all of this financial discussion going on about getting money into the hands of people, who's the ones that are stopping it? It's Pelosi, the Democrats, Schumer. Very interesting, right? They're supposed to be for the people, but why don't they want the people to have money? Because it really goes against their plan, right? But this, so we're seeing a couple of things, and we can put these pieces together. One, the Federal Reserve dropping interest rate near zero. It's 0.25%. It's going to go to zero. They're working their way down and even go negative. That without any interest Why do we need to borrow money at interest? That's the question, right? It goes to zero. Why do we need to borrow money at zero interest when we just print our own and we don't have to deal with the Fed anymore? Now we have asset-backed money. Now we have this concept of now a new type of banking where there's no interest involved. So businesses that need to get started can get a loan. No interest. They just have to pay it back. But one of the things in the world system as it is, right, the system that absorbs all the asset, and they give out the pretty paper. Here's a pretty paper. We're going to take your asset, and now you can build your humanitarian project. The way it all functioned is by debt. You might say that these trading is going on and it's creating a lot of wealth, right? It's all this now wealth sitting there. It's all vapor, but it's all was created. It's sitting there. Now, how do you use it? Well, you have to create debt over there in doing the project. And as you create the debt over there, they release that to you in a form of a loan, a non-recourse loan. What's a non-recourse loan? Non-recourse means there's no recourse. You cannot, if they decide not to pay back the loan, there's nothing you can do about it. You just write it off, which is supposed to happen in this system. You're supposed to just ignore the debt and say, hey, we're going to write it off. Well, where do they go? Well, they go to that pot of money that was created, right? That wealth that was sitting there by the trading. And they say, oh, well, you backed this, so you got to basically pay it. And the bank says, oh, okay. One bank pays the other bank. But the project got built. Why wouldn't we still do non-recourse loans for businesses, for humanitarian projects? You got to build something? Yeah, I want to build something. Okay, here you go. Here's the money. Go do it. Oh, it didn't work out? Oh, we'll just write that off. The system was designed for abundance. We just haven't been able to use it as such because of the interest side, the debt-based side. Just get rid of that piece. We don't need to charge the interest. And when the money is printed and put out, it creates an asset. That asset is a bridge. It's a bread and breakfast. It's a farm. Those assets continue to be in existence, right? So the money was used to create it. It already moved back out into the economy, and it's moving around, creating more flow. Why does it need to be paid back? In the system that was designed, they just made the money that was necessary to push the economy along. No reason we can't do that. There's no reason we can't do that and make sure that everyone has health care. You can call it universal health care, but that's not the way to handle it. You can, where you basically say there's a single payer, not efficient. Decentralized medicine is going to be much better a system than having it all centralized in a single payer. People can pay for their health care if there's no insurance involved. Well, it's too expensive. We need insurance. You only need insurance because that's how it became expensive, was because of the insurance. If you didn't have the insurance, it wouldn't cost so much. You can go to many places in the world and see that that's the case. It's not a fantasy. In the Philippines, I've seen it in action so many times because people don't have insurance. They have some insurance. There's like a general insurance plan for Filipinos from the government, but it doesn't pay very much. But the doctors still take it. It's still good. But it doesn't When I say it's not very much, it's because the health care here doesn't cost a lot. To go to the doctor here, I might pay anywhere between $5 to $10. Now it sounds like a copay, right? Well, that's it. That's the end of the bill. There's not more after that. And the doctors are making quite well a business out of that, and they're making quite a lot, and they're wealthy. They can build buildings. They can do everything that they would be able to do in the States without having all the rest of the baloney stacked on top of it. The malpractice insurance that forces them to keep the prices going up. Well, I think Tank might not be coming back. So, anyway, we did cover quite a lot. Let me just add this as a closing. This is really an amazing time of our lives. We really have a lot of us and a lot of people that I know in my life that have been part of fighting the system in their own way. I was talking with one of them today. I'm bringing him up to speed. He really did fight the IRS, the system, and he won. But he still went to jail. Right? They still put him through it. He ended up getting out, but he turned out winning the case. See, that they still put him in jail, but he still won. Oh, Tank is back.
Sorry about that. My phone went from 46% to 0 in a flash.
I was starting to wrap it up and saying, it's a miraculous time. This is a time when people can actually, that have been fighting this, can now get involved, get back to it. Right? I saw about a friend of mine that literally, was fought the concept of the IRS in there because he didn't deal in that realm. They basically ended up throwing him in jail for some trumped up thing. It was so trumped up. He ended up winning, right? But they still put him in jail. He still fought it, right? And of course, these kind of people have been fighting, right? We've all and those. But what I said, this is the time to really be aware that the evil tentacles of the cabal are now being extracted. They're being pulled out. And they're going to be gone forever, and we're talking weeks from now, months from now. I mean, it's not years. This is the year, and I think it's one fell swoop. I think we're talking 2 months, maybe, if that. Maybe it's all done in the next 2 weeks, which
you know what
would be great.
I'll tell you what. It does not matter. It doesn't matter if you get rid of them if people don't stand up at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Kim said this to me once, and she said it's not about taking them down. It's about elevating us, right? What really matters is that we elevate, we rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
Right? That's what matters, because that's part of the reason why you've been doing the things you've been doing, and I've been doing the things I've been doing, and and my whole team there, despite a lot of really resistance from bad guys, the known bad guys, right? And then as well as ignorance. I've over the past 4 years, I've watched people that are with me, biggest advocates, are doing everything, and then things don't get done, fast enough for them, and they fall away. But they don't just fall away, right? It's like they jump into the arms of someone who's so diametrically opposed to the truth, right? That's our mortal enemy, right? And go that way, and then they trash us and say how they're talking to the real people, right? They always think that they cashed in. You know, I had to laugh a little bit. It's funny to me that after we outed Team Bubba, right?
Yeah.
And demonstrated very clear links, right? And no matter what they say, like the Team Bubba site, you know, had very clear links to another one of their main people, right? Was connected to this child trafficking or child pornography website based out of Lithuania, and then that had a child auction site also based in Lithuania. They came back to the accounting firm, which is the largest contractor in the United States, that was running all of the banks, right? And so, I mean, we outed, we put all that information out to connect all those pieces, right? Then this random individual on our team who was, you know, working with us and helping us with documents, right? Smart guy, you know, great backstory. You know, decided that we were a satanic cult, and where did he go? He went to join Team Bubba. And I was just like, what? Really? Like, we are a satanic cult, but Team Bubba, who has nothing to offer except negativity, right? They call themselves a whistleblower. Just like, come on, man. I'm like, you think this is our first rodeo? You're the first person to go rogue on us. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just laugh. It just, it's one of those things where you just, you know what? You stay the course. You stay the course. You find the truth.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to do the right thing, if you really want to know the truth, you know, it's like you gotta see past that stuff. You know, you gotta see past the limitations you think that you have, and do a real investigation. But I always say it's funny. It's like we've been live for over a year, every day, right? Now, and if I haven't been live with you, right, the few times that I've missed your show, right, on many occasions I've been live 2 or 3 times a day,
Yeah.
right? Like, so at least 400 times that we put out messages over the past year. Now, at one point, I actually had it set up in my own home where I was live 24/7. So everything I did, I'd go over to the computer, and if I was going to have a conversation, I just never turned it off, right? For like a week straight, right? Now you'd think if we were involved in something nefarious, you would have figured it out, right? Like, who is that transparent? You know what I mean? Who is willing to say, look, this is just, we're trying to get through this, you know? Whatever we get, we're trying to share with you. We want you to be part of it. We want the whole world to be, you know, united around this evil that is, you know, that is essentially, you know, left us all in a shroud of ignorance and lied to us, right? And we don't have the best way to do everything, but I'll tell you what, we have a lot of really amazing ways to do all the things we're doing. And right now, I don't see anybody doing it better. Right now, that doesn't mean there can't be a better way. I'm just I don't see anybody doing it.
Right.
Right? We're doing it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like.
Yeah, there's this is a unique, very unique time, and we're right here in front of everyone doing everything. We're talking about it. We're making, we're trying to connect all the dots. We're not always correct on things, but we're batting a pretty good average. I shouldn't do a sporting analogy, but
I'd say so.
But we're doing well.
It's also like it's based out. It's, you know, it's like we've done all this with essentially nothing, right? That's something I really. It's like at the end of the day, your bad guys always have some financial connection, right, to keep whatever bad thing they're doing going. We don't have that. Like, I literally have spent the past 2 years on faith, you know, on people randomly giving us money. You know, I really don't like to ask for money. I don't like to talk about it. But thank God people just took it on themselves, right? I mean, think about it. It's just Lawful America. That's the only time we've ever even had a button where people could put something there. And that's only because the costs are so, you know, they're tangible that we, you know, had to do. right? Like we have to send out letters and things like that. So it's like that's the only reason why we can put that button there, right? And and that's the first time. That's the first time in doing this for going completely rogue against the system. Not just the system, but the cabal system. Like the whole side ops, like being in the RV. The only people that I know, like my team, the only ones who like left the RV openly and completely said no, right? And not only that, before that, I was the only one who was working the RV who wasn't making money somehow.
Yeah.
Like I refused to profit off people who had nothing, right? But I had some lovely people who cared about me, who had sent me money from time to time and helped me out. So thank God, and look, I'm not above that. I'm just saying. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing this process.
It's very humbling as well. Actually appreciate the audience and everything they've done to help me. And the times, it's like not something I've ever had to do, right? But I practice abundance, and it also means that you need to be open to what's in front of you, and sometimes it means, hey, I'm in need. Please help, and that's okay. Right, because it's a blessing both directions. It's a positive thing to happen. So, but yeah, this is I much prefer having the abundance to go out and get things done. But I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what though. I gotta say, like I have had, I just don't like. This has wreaked havoc in every aspect of my life, right? But gosh, man, I know a lot of amazing people. I mean, just genuine, kind, amazing people, like healers and intuitives, and and they're not witches. They're just good people with natural gifts. Like it's amazing that people forget that the disciples, after Pentecost, they were walking around healing everyone. Every place they went. I mean, they were tapping into the Holy Spirit in them, or whatever you want to call it, right? And it's amazing that we just seem to forget that, right? But it's like, some of the people, like, I'll tell you, people they never asked me for, like, I wouldn't pay for any kind of healing just because I couldn't, but I never had to, before I even tapped into the idea of intuitively being able to heal yourself, or energetically, right? Or having people heal you. I had people all over. Well, they were working on me. And I really appreciate it. Like, I think about it now. I'm like, I don't know how we could have got this far. Me personally, my team. Now it's like our whole team. We all accept it and appreciate it and use those things. Everybody's just kind of tapped in and looking for, the kind of hidden superpower, like what an amazing story,
Yeah, well,
to be able to be part of.
Yeah, it is amazing. I always called it God's path, right? I just follow God's path in front of me, and then I get a lot of people say, "Well, what religion are you?" I said, "God."
God.
Just God. I go direct. I just go direct. I don't want to put a name to it. I mean, I use God as a reference. You could say source. Whatever, but you're, in essence, it's being respectful and in humility and try to, do the best you can and move forward and recognize what's there. I mean, just think about everything that we've been going through and recognizing, number one, that the GCR was a lie. To recognize that, and say, listen, I had quads behind me. Right, in the historical bonds and stuff. I mean, it's untold amounts. I could never even count, really. But doesn't mean anything if it's a lie.
It's funny. I have authenticated, from Switzerland, all the paperwork, bonds, similar things like what you had. I mean, not nearly what you had, but more than enough, right? I had probably, I think I had 1,000 Zim notes. I gave them all away. That's fine. Just to prove a point. to show like I know this is not going to revalue here. You can have it all.
Yeah.
I think I had held on to like one of them just to have my archives, but
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have all of this Zim also, right, that I had collected in trade for TBC, and I kept one quad, right, that actually ended up in my hands, and that was, I said, I'm just going to frame this.
yeah,
it's just pretty. It's pretty paper. It is. It's beautiful paper. It's real artwork. These $100 trillion notes. Just as it says 100 trillion is amazing enough.
Well, it's really fascinating. Some of the services that we needed, people to build and develop and work on for, basically, the things that would be in high demand, right? And I've reached out to a lot of people for this, and I have a tremendous network of amazing people that do a lot of work for us for free, right? I've security teams and tech teams and marketing teams and media teams and all over the world too. Development teams and inventors and healers, all these people, right? And I'll tell you something. I've had a lot of people that just they wouldn't do anything for us, right? You would think they must have really great stuff, right? They wouldn't do anything for us unless they got paid, right? And we just couldn't, we couldn't pay them. And but it's amazing that really, in my opinion, the people who are really dedicated to whatever it is they're doing, the craft, are the people who have done things for in an art area, for nothing. Right? They put their heart into it. They put their name on it. They've never. We've had people walk away from us who wouldn't even admit that they were working with us, right? Because we don't look credible enough. or things like that. But recently, now this has been over the past 6 months have been much more aggressive, right? It's over the past 6 months, a lot of these people that shunned us or just kind of walked away from us or ignored us or, just didn't respond, now they're coming back and because they haven't been paid. All these groups, right? They went for this big contract, big money, and you know what happened? Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Just like we said would. Nothing would happen. Now, it's hard to take nothing as your evidence that you're doing the right thing. but I will say when a lot of these guys they talk to me like they know it all. They've done this. I'm a rookie and they got it covered. But I don't know. And now it's nice that people are trying to come back around and they realize, hey, I guess we got to help you get this done so we can get paid. Because that's the truth, right? That really is the truth. Like, we need your help.
Well, you just include a little bit of being of having good predictions of the future. That helps. People come back and say, "Oh, you're right." Hey, I heard that. Hey, and so don't go down that line. I've got another good friend of mine that involved in the GCR, and you know him. I won't say his name, but he's basically ended up working on the Kingdom of Manna side, right? I say no, that's the wrong road. You kind of got the right. You're heading in the right direction. You took a left turn. You should have taken a right.
Yeah.
And so I'm talking with him even still today, and he's doing a lot of footwork for them, and I'm going, and he's a good-hearted guy, and he just thinks he's on the right side of things, right? And that's okay. At one point he'll realize. Yeah.
And to be honest, I really don't know the scope of operations, for the not Kingdom of Manna group, because I'm sure that they could have thousands of people that are good people, but you've got a hierarchy that's not, right?
Yeah.
You got a hierarchy that's had body doubles say they, that they're kin. right?
who are
There's
part of
investigations done.
a part of the Bush infrastructure. You know,
Right,
it's
right,
that
exactly.
whole part of the CIA. You know, this whole thing is, getting them to go around and get things done.
Yeah.
The people with good with good hearts, and they go around doing things for the good. People that meet them say, "Oh, I can tell this guy is a good guy, right? And he's doing this. It must be good, right?" So
Yeah.
their credibility goes on the line. But
But yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just saying. So that they end up that delayed gratification. Everything keeps. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, it didn't happen. Oh, it didn't happen. Right? And there's always the excuse like, the GCR is going to pay out on Monday. But it's just delayed. It's just delayed. The sun set too quickly that night.
So yeah, so there is actual categories out there.
Okay.
Of and so you have some people that are of a mercenary mindset, right? They won't do anything without money, right? The money up front, paid first. We work for money, but they're greedy. So if you put them in the right process and you promise a big payoff, they'll do it, right? You got others that are gratified by, the purpose that drives their work, believing that what they're doing is, for the greatest good, right? It's for what they're doing really has significant value to humanity, and they'll work for free indefinitely,
Yeah.
right? I hate to categorize myself in any way, but I probably lumped it that way, right? But a lot of people get deceived because of that,
Right.
right? Because they get told they get let in on a very complicated, elite plan, and they get told part of it, right? And you change one word, and it changes the whole meaning, right? And now I was working with some people who were lovely people from the global currency reset committee. They were working for OMB, right? They had very,
Okay.
very sophisticated paperwork. They were the historians for it. They were writing. They had everything documented. They approved the documents, confidential documents that we posted. I left them out, hanging out there. They asked me not to put it out, but when it came down to it, I had to put it out because it was like, look, I can't be loyal to be politically correct to your job that's never going to pay you out when all of humanity and all these thousands, if not millions of people have bought into this currency and believe it's real. Somebody has to put the information out there. And I could care less about that relationship at the end of the day. Now, not that I have any harm, right? They never, from that standpoint. But I can't, and when it comes down to it, it's like, no, I'm not going to stay loyal to someone to protect a source.
Right.
I could care less about that. At the end of the day, man, I work for the people. It's like, hey, I'm one of the people. So it's like, how could any one of us be free if we're not all free?
Yeah.
So, but I just watch, it's just amazing, all these different pieces that have gone on. And you can see, I started writing an article today about this because it's amazing when you look at the Iron Mountain agenda. Because what's included in the Iron Mountain agenda is slavery, right? Now it's written so high level that you almost can miss it. But it basically says like slavery is definitely a necessary component, right? They know it, right? They know it. And the trick is, how do you trick people into being slaves, right? How do you? And it actually says that poverty is a desirable situation. They want poverty; it makes it easier, right, to control people.
Right.
And you have this massive division, right? And this is all their plan for peace. So in their plan for peace, we are slaves.
Yeah. Until there's a slave uprising, and then they got to deal with that. But besides that, they have peace.
Well, but see, they took extensive steps. Think about it. First, you begin to, talk about unproven science as if it's fact, right? Like vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
And you begin the inoculation process. At the same time, you poison the water, right? So you fluoridate the water. So you're dumbing people down now. So now their cognitive reasoning skills are diminished, right? They have neurological damage already happening, and it becomes normal, right? You can look at the writing from today versus back in like the 50s. It's very obvious there was a dumbing down, right? You standardize the testing in school, so now this is the standard for what intelligence is, right? And why do they do that? So they can measure how their program was going.
Right.
You know, and as they implement more and more vaccines, you can see, oh, here, now we have a really good feel for, you know, how well our program's working, right? And like, are they conforming to these standards only, right? That's how we're measuring everyone's intelligence. So you put all that stuff in place, right? Then, you know, you start to indoctrinate them with the media, right? You launch the feminist movement, right? You begin the emasculation program through, you know, simultaneously. You know, now, like, you know, I mean, really, Roe versus Wade was a jump off, right? Where you basically said it's a woman's body, the man has no rights.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's like where you really, it's like where you took the man out of the creative process. He has no say over the life of his child, right? And then you continue to, like, through sitcoms, portray men as, you know, bumbling idiots who go to work, but women are holding everything down and heroic, and men are useless, right? Now, you know, they did the opposite earlier, right? Like, they made women basically bear, you know, a double burden in a lot of ways before that, right? So the real balance of the family structure, though, gets destroyed, right? And it gets to a point where it's like, oh, we should all just be androgynous beings, which is what they're trying to create now, right?
Right.
So now, once you've completely shamed all the men, so, you know, being a man is now shameful, right? It's toxic, right?
Yeah.
But now look at, like, today. Like, I saw this great meme about this. You know, like, I bet everybody is, you know, looking at the man they're with. All these women are looking at the man they're with, wondering, can he fish? Can he hunt? Can he fight? Not thinking that those skinny jeans are too sexy now.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a big difference, right?
Yeah.
Now it's a different world. So they've been steadily trying to just diminish it, because it would be it's the men's job to fight. It's the nature that we would want to fight, we want to protect, right? So all those things, you know, you had to have all those things in place all at the same time, so that you could then kind of wage war and wipe people out. And in doing it, you know, we would just basically sit back and do nothing about it. That's what they wanted. You know, that's how you get people to be grateful to be slaves.
Yeah.
That's a recipe. Terrifying.
Well, this is the slave uprising. we're doing it right now.
Yeah, I hate that word. You know.
Sure.
I refuse to. But I acknowledge.
Listen, I never considered myself a slave. I always saw the writing on the wall. I knew what was going on. I said, this is not good. I played the game as close as I could, you know, to stay out of that position and give myself the ability to maneuver, right, within this world. But, you know, I was aware. Most people don't know. And it's because, you know, people don't want to think about these things, right? They just want to focus on their life. They don't want to think that they've been, you know, duped into you know, a slave situation.
It's like the option on the table is like, it's like, hey, you have free choice. You can be a slave or a prisoner. It's like, wait, I don't feel like that's a real option. You know.
Yeah, so I'll take the third choice.
Yeah. So you got to make your own path. You know, the ability to create is what makes us free. So if the world doesn't seem to offer what we need, and we want to be free, then we have to create a new world. So,
and we're here. We're doing it.
Yes, indeed. I'm with that.
Yeah.
So that's all I got, Dan. Sorry for leaving you hanging there for a minute. But,
that's all right. No, that's all right. We just carry on, move forward. I was going to end it right there. But I was giving a goodbye and say, you know, this is the unique time in this world, right? This has never happened before, and it's never going to happen again. We're doing it right now, and we're clearing away the evil scum of the planet, and we're going to be now creating a new world. Right? And this new world is going to be one where everyone is going to be able to be fulfilled. Not hungry, not lacking of anything, because we don't need it. We don't need that system that creates scarcity. So a universe is abundant. The planet is abundant. We can be abundant. We are abundant.
Having basic needs met is not freedom.
Right.
Having basic needs met is just basic needs, right? Freedom is the ability to explore and to express and discover who you are and put it all to work in whatever way that you see fit. However you want it to be. If you want to work for the same company your whole life, that's great. If you want to work 100 different jobs, set up the world's biggest lemonade stand, that's great. At the end of the day, freedom is just that. The actual freedom, inspiration, the motivation, the support to be yourself. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing the new foundation happening. We see the Federal Reserve interest rate dropping to zero. Hey, why do we need to borrow money? If we don't need to, if we needed to start a business, we can have loans that don't have interest. While you were offline for a little while, I kind of described, the existing system. It was set up to take asset in, right, and then create these projects, and it was all done by debt, right, and they did non-recourse loans. There was no recourse to you not paying back the loan that you took because the money was already made in the system on the trading side. And the banks just swapped money behind the scenes, right? So they were all taken care of. But the project got made. The new collateral was created, a new asset.
Yep.
And why can't we do this now? Why can't we give loans for businesses non-recourse? If they have got a plan and they want to do it, you want to lend it to them, great. But that's it. They don't pay it back. They don't pay it back. That's fine. But if it's coming from the government side, as a source of funds, right, and they can go push that out, we can see projects rolling out.
Yep. Kim told me in the first 3 months we were working together, we launched this plan, right, to set up distribution centers all over the world, right? So I think I had about 50 people, and I had more, like 100 in total, but they began to distribute. Now that's grown significantly, right? That went out, and their job was to set up a bank account for the Create Change in their area, right? To be like a branch where we could set up a distribution center, right? They'd approve projects. They'd look at projects, we'd have a wellness center there. They'd work with, and their job was to make sure the money got to the people, right? And to make sure their project is successful, right? Give them whatever they needed to be successful, right? That was their job. And, that kind of responsibility was on them. So we were setting this up all over. And Kim told me then, she told me then, eventually you'll have to get some kind of a, license, for Create Change to do whatever, right? And she's always had she has a clear advantage, right, with the quantum mapping system. And when she said that, I was like, wow, that'd be cool someday. I guess, because whatever. But now I wonder, because the mapping system, it's reaching backwards and forward in time. It's tracking all different possibilities based on decisions that are made, right? And what could happen, and what's going to probably happen, based on if this happens next, right? So I was wondering, because now I feel like, wow, that almost seems like it will have to happen in the very near future, right? To me anyways, just personally, feels like that will really have to happen, based on the things I know that I talk about and the things I don't talk about, right? And that could happen. You know, and I'm just like amazed that like we've come all this way. You know, like that's, and you know what? Then we don't ever have to employ, bankers that are talking to us about the way the system works, looking down on us, telling us like, look, you just don't understand how it works. Like, no, we do. We do understand how it works. What you know is how it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But you're masters of not making it work. You're masters of not doing work, of hoarding away wealth, of thinking that you are clever because you did the exact same thing that every single, robber baron did before you.
Yeah.
Amazing. So that's all I got. And
That's
now
good.
I'll stop talking.
Well, that's all right. All right. Thanks, everybody. This was another good day, and we'll have another good day tomorrow. See you then. Be sure to share. Thumbs up. Positive comments. Please share. Let's get the numbers up. Let's get the subscriptions up. And the shadow banning it looks like it's lifted. We're growing. We're growing now again. So let's get rolling here. We got to let everyone else know the good news.
Awesome.
So
Appreciate it, Dan. Have a great night, everybody.
good night.